Fahmida Miller has just completed her Friday prayers whilst her mother continues to listen to the afternoon talk given by the cleric. Islam is still very much a part of her life despite the scorn she has faced from within the Muslim community about her HIV status.
I was married when I contracted HIV. I got married in 1994 and 7 months later my husband died. And at the time of his death, I didn't know, that he died of the disease. In fact, that time I didn't know much about AIDS myself. In fact, I didn't even know that there was a difference between HIV and AIDS. All I was told at that time by the doctor was that I had AIDS and that's it.
Fahmida says she battles to understand why people would want to know how one got HIV rather than supporting the infected person.
I am sure there are many Muslim people living with HIV, but the majority of them are not open. Yes, they are open to me because they want to know how did I overcome this pandemic. They talk to me because I'm a counselor to them. But most of them don't even disclose to their own family members. And I don't blame them because although people are now so aware of the disease, I think there's still a lot of stigma attached to it because people want to know how did you contract so that they can judge you on that basis. We don't have a right to judge other people. And don't ask people how you contracted HIV. Just be there and remind that person, to repent, to turn back to Allah and just lead to a normal life. Again, just don't judge people.
Despite openly talking about her HIV status, Fahmida is still at the receiving end of snide remarks and disdain from fellow Muslims.
I speak up when it comes to HIV. And just recently again, someone said to me, I should stop talking about my HIV status, a Muslim person. And I asked the guy, but why? Why should I keep quiet? And I said to him, it's because of you that people are dying in silence. They are suffering in silence. Because they cannot come up, and even go to a doctor to ask for medication so that they can prolong their lives. And the guy just looked at me and he was just like adamant, no, I should keep quiet. And I just thought to myself, sure, this guy is really, really ignorant, eh?
Fahmida is not the only HIV-infected Muslim that's living openly in South Africa. 39-year-old Munira from Johannesburg was diagnosed in 1997 and lived secretly for a few months until she received counseling.
I started to be sick. It was in 1997. I was married that time. Then I divorced. After I got divorced, it's where I was on and off. At first, I was scared. And then when I went at the second time, in the first day, they said I must come for the results. And then I started to have TB. I was very afraid. I was very afraid that maybe I'm going to die.
Munira says stigma is still very much prevalent within the Muslim community and people can be quite harsh.
I didn't tell anyone that time. I kept myself. I was scared of stigma. If I tell someone, you're going to tell another someone. And someone, when I walk, then they're going to say, you see this lady, it's like this, like this, like this, like this. With our Muslims, there are some of them, they are still not accepting it. If you tell them, then it's like a shame.
Ignorance amongst the community also places her at the center of discrimination. She experienced it firsthand at her workplace.
Especially with Muslim people.
What do they do?
I was working at the orphanage where there were children who were affected. When they discovered, then they didn't want even to share even a bathroom. Even if I can use a knife, they didn't want to use a knife. They say, oh, okay, these people got AIDS, they're going to die anytime.
But Abu Bakr Sabila, an HIV officer with the NGO Islamic Relief, says attempts are being made to educate Muslims about HIV and stigma so that they can be more accepting of HIV-infected persons.
Generally, it had a bit of a challenge for our community to grasp to the reality of people being HIV positive and people living with HIV. However, through many extensive workshops, campaigns, and engagement, we have been able to have different partnerships where we have the Muslim AIDS program.
Asked why the Muslim community is so concerned about how one becomes HIV positive, he says it's because of assumptions and stereotyping.
It is assumed that when you are HIV positive, it is because you were promiscuous or maybe you were indulged in, acts that are not permissible within the religious terrain.
But it's not a sin to have HIV, right?
No, it's not a sin. It's not a sin.
It's also evident that HIV-infected Muslim women are more at risk of being subjected to abuse and harsher treatment. Abu Bakr explains.
I think the stigma is still high there, agree with that so much, and I think that it is because also of the expectation from our community as Muslims. We have this particular notion that, a woman cannot do this.
HIV within the Muslim community is still not quite accepted, but Abu Bakr says he lives with hope that will change soon. I'm Zeenat Abdool in